So, real quick, I want to go over a little bit of footage from the day of the event, because a lot of what I was coming here to look at was this one specific thing on the roof that I have questions about. And so I drove like 2,200 miles to answer those questions. I was over in New York City hanging out with my buddies, chilling, when it occurred to me that if I don't drive to Utah now to see the scene, it's going to be gone. And I should probably just drive all the way there, and Gigi and I should just check it out for ourselves. And so we drove all the way across the country, and here we are. And a lot of it was specifically to check out this one specific thing. And I'm actually going to increase the size of our screen share on screen here so that it's nice and easy to see. So I had noticed in the footage of the event that there's kind of a little bloop on top of this roof. And from this far around angle, it's not that obvious. And then when homeboy, this YouTube account called Life is Driving, was doing interviews, they were live streaming the whole time. It's some of the best footage that we have of the day of the event. And in the footage, it was pretty easy to see this little thing up on the roof. This is all in fast motion. And I just kind of sped through all the interviews he was doing, and then the shot happens. And I noticed in the original footage that after the shot happens, the first time that you get to see the roof again, the thing is not there anymore. And then you get a better view, and the thing is definitely not there anymore. The little bloop that was there, it's not there. So is that like a weird angle thing? Because before, it was super obviously there, right? And it looks like maybe it's just a smokestack, like a little exhaust vent or something like that. It's not like it's necessarily even looks like a shooter. I was also looking at the deck to see what's going on there. But it is obvious that after the shot, whatever it was doesn't appear to be there anymore. And so is it by changing angles or getting closer? Did it just go out of sight because of the angle of the roof? That was one of my biggest questions, my own personal question about the scene that I wanted to answer. And I have some answers and some more questions. That being said, there's also a lot of other theories that are floating around that I wanted to kind of check on and see what happened. Chris Martinson put out a really great video the other day analyzing the ballistics and positing maybe another rooftop that we should be examining. And I have details on that rooftop that Chris Martinson was curious about that I think are pretty clear. And a lot of people are looking at side angle shots, and I don't have anything clear on that, but I've got a lot of footage that adds more questions. So I traced the shooter's path and wandered in. Same way. And, there's nothing really like crazy about the route in. It is what it is. We've all seen it. I did have questions about this point in the route where the shooter went through the tunnel and got caught on camera. And if anyone has been wondering why the shooter turned and went through this tunnel where there are cameras, I was starting to suspect maybe the shooter went through the tunnel on purpose, or not the shooter, like maybe this guy walked in front of those cameras on purpose to leave an intentional trail for the feds to get, right? Like, why go through the camera tunnel when you could just walk across the street? And then I got here, and I learned that actually there's a fence across the end of the street. Straight down the road where we're going to turn left to get up to Lossy. Because the shooter turns right here. This parking lot. Which is like directly off course. Like you're walking straight down a road into campus and then you turn hard right away from your destination just so you can go down through this tunnel. That seemed very suspicious to me. But part of the reason why we go and look at things in person on the scene is because I got here. Now getting on to UVU property. Okay. And then it just dawned on me. So there's a fence up blocking that road from going through. So maybe that fence was there. And maybe that's why he had to come down into the tunnel. The fence ends right there, right by those trees. And it extends up to the edge of the bushes up right there. So maybe that's a good excuse to come down into this tunnel. Because the tunnel has security camera. Okay. So much later in that day, where would it be? Right here. I came back and examined that fence from the other side, and it's pretty clear. This fence is not new. It's old from the way that the grass has grown into it and the way that there's a little stoner trail right beside it of people walking around it. So clearly this fence has been here, and that's why you had to go down into the tunnel. So little things like that that seem suspicious at first until you're there and there are explanations for some things, right? That fence was clearly there the day of, so we had to go down through the tunnel. I went on a Sunday and everything was closed up, so the building that Tyler walked through to get up to the position was locked. There's cops everywhere there now, which is cool. And I met one, hung out with him for a second, tried to give me a little tour, and I was like, nah, bro, I'm not really having it. And so let's get on to some of these first questions. The side of the Losi Center. And I'm not sure if that, I can see the top of Sorensen super clear. So this is a theory that Chris Martinson posited, that maybe the angle from the top of Sorensen would make more sense for the shot that came in. I don't feel like if you're a professional, I don't feel like you plan to be on a rooftop out here. There's too many, the thing is the levels make it so there's lots of shots, but they make it so that all the shooting positions are visibly like super out in the open to basically everybody. Especially on a day when there's people all over the place swarming. That seems like a horrible idea. So we're coming up on the other side where he came through the building and it's locked up today. So another rooftop. So one thing that is more clear being here rather than on footage and on Google Maps is it's super weird that there was someone on top of the Woodbury building apparently in the footage, because when you look at the Woodbury building. Do you guys not have audio from my video? So one thing that is more clear being here, and so with no way to get up easily and no way to hide, like I presume that some of the windows open. I presume that roof access is gained through like the little opening of the windows up. How's that audio, guys? Very low audio. So what I'm explaining here, here's what I'll do is I'll mute it and I'll just talk to you. There's all these levels in this campus, and kids were like walking down this stairway behind me on the way to go see, and you can see the whole top of a lot of these rooftops. Like the Woodbury building, where we had footage that had someone on top of that building, you can see the whole rooftop from here. Clearly, you can see down onto the rooftop, and there's no visible access to the rooftop at all. And so the very fact that there's even like kind of a person up there at all on the day of, like I almost am questioning whether that really was a person in the footage now, because it would be so visibly obvious to all kinds of people coming down from this upper level to come and see Charlie, that it just is really weird. Once you're there, so there's this thing that footage makes it all look like you're so far away. It makes everything look really distant because footage compresses everything. The angles of like the lenses do weird distortion, but like that's right in front of you when you're on campus. That is not far. That's like if your buddy was up there on that roof, you could just have a regular conversation with them. You wouldn't even need to shout. You could throw a tennis ball back and forth with them. It's not far away, and it's really easy to see it all in person when you're there. And so it makes it a lot more obvious that like that it just doesn't track. It doesn't track. Let me Let me see if I can add some this audio source real quick. No, it's not that. There we can go. There we go. Now, I think, check this out. Let me know how this audio is now.
Rebuilding, spotting anything, we would, like, you'd be able to see them right away. There would be no value to that.
Now there's audio?
So now for the infamous Bushman theories.
Okay. Bushman. So again, Chris Martinson was looking at this roof based upon the angle of the shot, the ballistics, the trajectory. He was looking at the roof of this Sorensen Center here where the trees kind of obscure it. And from down in the courtyard, from looking up at the shot, it makes some sense. But from up above, it's a total no-go. It's a white roof with no cover on it, and you can see the entire rooftop surface from places that were full of people, which is why it's like, all right, on the ground, that makes less sense. This is what it looks like right now. And the balcony is right there. It looks far away in this footage. It is right there. It is super clear. I can make out individual leaves on that bush when I'm standing there. I can clearly see the table and chairs. There is like no chance that there was someone on that balcony. And furthermore, this is the entrance to that balcony.
Interesting. So the stairs up to that balcony are behind a gated door that's always access controlled. That's interesting.
So there wouldn't be any way to even get, like, this is like a key coded lock on this door. So maybe someone was on the balcony, but it seems relatively unlikely once you look at what the balcony access looks like, as well as like how visible it is to everybody else. I did a lot of looking at the walls, the windows, looking for cameras.
Probably can't see, but there's a camera.
Little camera
there on that wall too.
Another question that I've had this whole time is, what are up with these vents? Are these closed vents? Are there slats in them? Is this possibly a crawl space that people could be in, shooting out of? And the answer is no, not really. Let me see if I can just zoom this in for you guys. Do I get any closer to them? Yeah, I peeped them a little tighter. So I'm going to zoom us in here. These vents are clearly like there's cobwebs on them. They're rusted and kind of dirted into place. These vents, these screens have clearly not been removed. They clearly are solid and stable and in place. So to me, and I looked at each one of them
And then
individually.
heavy screen in front of them.
I think we can put any theories about things. Like, honestly, there's some footage of like a kind of droney looking thing flying out of one of those, and that makes no sense because those things are not open and there's no way to open them.
Completely.
So I don't know what to make of that.
It's all cobwebby and rusted, and clearly it's not gone anywhere. The person that people are saying was at the stairwell, no line of sight. You'd have to be right up.
So this spot is pretty interesting because you kind of realize that even if you were on the balcony, you'd have to be right on the edge of the balcony to have a line of sight. On the roof, you'd have to be right on the edge of the roof to have a line of sight. And this corner is getting some attention, but once we go up higher, this corner looks very exposed as well. So all the theories about a shot from the side run into this problem of like a shooter needs a line. They need a location to shoot from, which is not
maps for.
not
But this
easy to
uppermost
find
roof up here, you'd have to be right at the edge, like super right at the edge. And there's nothing else over there that's open.
I mean, this crack right there is kind of sus. But like how, like, you know, Charlie's tent is gone, obviously, but how would you plan an assassination around a line of sight that required a chair placement, a tent placement, everything to be exactly laterally correct so that you have this complex line of sight down this crack in the building? That does not make sense to me. Of all of the side shooter locations that are possible, because I scanned this whole wall. I even was looking at drain pipes. Like, does anything come off of this wall? Are there any openings anywhere? And I think for me, the most likely theory is the rooftop. The part of the reasoning for the rooftop. Oh, did I move Google? Here, let me pull up Google Earth. So part of the reasoning for why this rooftop is suspect, in my opinion, is because we saw that weird thing in the footage that was on the rooftop. But people obviously notice on Google Earth, there's this little black thing that looks like a shadow from like a drain pipe, right? Theoretically, it looks like a drain pipe at least. It looks thin and long. So maybe that's what we were seeing. Seems logical. So I was expecting to see a drain pipe up there and to be like, cool, it's a drain pipe. It's there all along. It must just be a weird artifacting of why it disappears. But it's worth noting that this looks like roof access right here. This structure is roof access because there's no other way to get onto this roof. You can't get up there. There's no other access. This whole rooftop is visible from like street level over here. So, you know, it wasn't this rooftop. This is the rooftop I was showing how we can see the whole top of this white rooftop here. So this is the only rooftop anywhere over here other than maybe back here in this corner area that we're looking at. These two locations are like the only two that are still plausible in my mind for a shot from the side, personally. Okay? So we're looking up here and up here. But then we'll come back to that. I want to go to the footage that I got today that's at the trapdoor. Okay. So then I pull up. I saw this thing yesterday with my smaller POV camera, and I wanted to get my telephoto lens out and come back and look at it because it didn't look like the thing that we saw in the footage on day of. And I don't know if it is. Okay? What the hell is that? It's like R2-D2 up there. And this one's shaky. Let me go to where we get it clear. Turn on image stabilization. What the hell is that? I mean, I'm not saying like that's obviously not like some nefarious device or anything, but like some sort of drain pipe thing. And it's pretty big. It's like big and noticeable. And it might be the thing that was in the footage from the day of, but it's huge. And noteworthy, it does not disappear when you walk left and right. I walked the angles. I wonder if I've got that piece of the footage here.
From the walkway.
It would be in the other day when I saw it here.
Is very clearly visible from there and from here.
So this is zoomed in right now.
And it's not.
So this is me walking back and forth back here about where the interview happened, where the Life is Driving footage was filmed from.
Not out of view.
And you can see it, this whole area. It doesn't go out of view until you get all the way up above Charlie Kirk's position.
All the way right above almost where Charlie was.
So here I'm standing above where Charlie was, and it's still vaguely visible. It probably wouldn't be visible in that footage that we would have been looking at. But it doesn't just go out of view. Like, let's go back to the original footage that got me asking these questions, okay? In that original footage, By the time bro gets over and around to here, it's a very thin little straight looking pole. And maybe that's the same thing. Maybe it's just two different cameras seeing it differently, right? Maybe it's not all that suspicious. We get around closer. So this is after the shot. And after the shot, it's not there. Right? In the original footage from the day of the shooting, the thing is gone right there. And it's clearly there, right there. And it looks a lot smaller than what I'm seeing today. Okay? And that's not to say that it's necessarily, like, it could be the same thing. It could just be the nature of video cameras, I guess. But like when he's interviewing this guy, they're standing in this position. So right there, I just checked in on it. That's like right at the same lateral positioning as when he interviews these people. He interviews these people, and then the shot is fired right from this interview position, and all he does is walk over to the gate, to the railing. And you can see from this position, it's already gone before he even moves over to the railing. Right? Like, am I crazy? Am I crazy? I might be crazy. But, like, today, now,
is very clearly visible from there and from here. And it's not out of view until back here. Clearly, it's visible.
And it's like a full-on R2-D2 thing. It's not like a narrow little pole thing. So, like, I am honestly wondering, like, is it newly installed? Like, was that always there? Because there are new things popping up on the rooftops. There's, like, new cameras getting put up and new stuff getting put up. And I don't know what to make of it. It is what it is. Doesn't solve anything, but it's got my hackles up. I'd be curious if any rooftop experts can tell us what this kind of thing looks like it's for. I want to know. So that's that rooftop thing. Let's get to the trapdoor. Okay. In between filming B-roll of flags, I was walking back and I saw that bro had the trapdoor open. And so I naturally get out my phone and I'm all like stealth starting to record. I don't know if they're going to try to tell me not to record them or not. And I'm like right next to him. I'm like, oh fuck, dude, I got to see inside of there. And I like try to hold it up. It's not good enough. So I'm like, we're going up. And this is with my phone, and I'm realizing that the phone is not going to be able to see down inside either. I got to get out the camera and like adjust the exposure myself. So that's what we do. So this is with a telephoto lens from above him with adjustable exposure, and I'm going to blow the rest of the scene way out bright so that way it's correctly exposed for inside of the hole. And I mean, it's not like I don't think we discovered the bat layer or anything like that, but you can see that there is a space under there. It is clearly like a room style space that you could get down in there and move around, and clearly like he could jump down in there and work on whatever equipment is under there. And there's this giant water feature right there. So that's not like crazy suspicious. Like it makes sense that they would have features under there to run the water systems. Like it was just neat. We also,
are you sending it to her?
Yeah.
I mean, feel free to run crazy wild with your conspiracy theories if you want.
I mean, it's not actually going to tell us anything.
Yeah.
But it was neat. And the other one, it's just a sump pump. This one did not appear to have any other space around it. This one appeared to be contained in just what it is. You can see the walls around the edges. Okay. The other one, I could tell from looking down that it was a bigger space, bigger than just what you see here.
There's a crawl space and another grate.
Take that for what it is.
But
okay. Oh, and then something crazy happened today. Something weird. They started taking away more of the scene. They brought in a forklift and started taking away the planters
winter
above the water feature.
to like turn off the water feature.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Bizarre.
Don't know why, but they're taking out the planters now. This is the second one. They'd already removed the one on the corner. And there's like a nice Charlie Kirk memorial, like little signs and flags stuck into these planters that I guess they're just going to take away. So I don't know what they're doing there. I don't know what to make of it, but that is what it is. So there's a couple of things.
Is the person was like walking through here, probably towards the prow.
I am super confused by the Woodbury building footage now, by apparently seeing a person on top of the Woodbury building. We can remind ourselves of that because I have it in this footage right here, right there. This is where, like, maybe it's not a person. It's probably too small to be a person. I don't know if it really moves. I'm suspecting that that was not a person, honestly. Based on how visible the top of Woodbury is. Okay. One other thing that might be interesting to you guys that we have here. This is me analyzing the rooftops. This is me in the back. Is the woods.
These are the woods where the gun was allegedly stashed.
There's this big dip down that when you get down there, you're like totally hidden
You are
and
suddenly
private.
obscured from the road down here. And all of this
That's like a steep hill up to the houses.
goes up to people's houses that I don't want to go getting in their way, up in their shit.
And then I'm like, oh, but that looks like the chicken coop. That looks like a fucking chicken coop. I don't cross no fences, but I just like peep from this side, and this is clearly the alleged chicken coop. There, you can see the eggs. When I went around the corner, I could see there's all these eggs right there. This is the chicken coop. And this little spot right here behind this tree must be the alleged drop point. And there is a little kind of foot grab, like you can tell that this is a little stoner path down to this location up to there. That maybe is the kind of thing that the family that lives in this house up here uses this to get down and over to the school. Or maybe it's from the crime scene, from all the investigators walking up and down it. But there's clearly a footpath of trafficked kind of walkway up from there.
This is a chicken coop.
I wasn't about to go trespassing on people's property, but that was clearly the drop site. And that is the chicken coop. And there's the chicken.
That's the chicken coop. And apparently this is where the rifle was stashed.
The rifle that is the only thing linking Tyler Robinson to the scene is that they just so happened to find this rifle that is a custom antique family heirloom. You could not get a more like specific identifier to link a person to a scene of a crime than this custom gun given to him by his grandfather. Very convenient that that is the gun that's left in the woods off-site that we've never seen on camera. We've never seen in a photo. We've never seen in a video with Tyler. We've never seen Tyler holding it on campus. We've never even seen anything that is clearly Tyler on campus. But we found a rifle that he very specifically definitely owns over here by this chicken coop. Don't ask any more questions.
Here and been walking down here. You came back up to the road that he stashed it. So that's the chicken coop right there where it was allegedly stashed. And we don't really have clarity over whether he stashed it and then ran up through the houses. Doesn't make sense. Seems more likely that he stashed it, you know, assuming that's what happened, and came back out up to the road, which is what I'm going to do. Because there's not really a way through over there.
Here we're about to see the house on the
But the
corner
thing
that
is that
Candace is
if-
suspicious of.
You came back up to the road, then it seems likely that that camera would have been able to capture you a second time, because you would have come up onto the road here and been walking down here to get back over to your exit point. And so, in the same way that the camera was able to see him,
So back there, right over my shoulder in the corner there, you can see the point on the building where the camera that showed us the rooftop video is. So it should have footage of him. If he took the road back down to get back towards his car, it would probably have seen him again, which they're obviously not going to show us.
he was over here on the grassy knoll before he crossed the street, it would have been able to.
And right here, you can't really see it, but there is kind of a footpath that leads up through these woods, kind of into the property
him if he had
of
walked
this
back down
abandoned
this
house.
side of the road. Right there.
That
I can clearly
looked
see it.
awfully convenient. If I was looking to get off the road as quickly as possible and back towards my car, I would have gone up that footpath towards that abandoned house. No evidence that that's what Tyler did. I don't know, even though that camera probably would have showed it. But I thought it was worth mentioning. That there's like, you can't really see it because of this bush.
But here's the corner house that the school apparently.
I mean, there's also just like all of these ways up it too, but.
So you can tell.
Okay. So, I think that that's all I really want to share from the footage right now. A little bit of data for a couple of different theories. If any of the investigators are out there seeing any of this footage and you want more detail on something in specific, or you want me to share any of this footage with you specifically, let me know. If there's any questions that you have based on what you're seeing here, let me know. I mean, because at this point, our theories are kind of getting narrowed down a little bit, right? As in, a shot from the side, there's not a lot of places the shot could come from. A shot from the front, there's also not a lot of places it could come from. And the roof of the Velocity Center is the most obvious one. Maybe from further back. This footage is not exactly from where Charlie was. It's from up higher. Once you're down lower where Charlie actually is, a lot of these buildings behind go out of view. Like the Woodbury building is out of the question. A lot of the potential places start to not be possible. Most of the windows around campus don't open. It's actually not as easy of a place to get a line of sight and put a shot down as it kind of seems from the footage. So I don't really know what to make of it all. Let me see if I want to land right... Where did I? Oh, I know why. I took that clip out because there was a whole bunch of students' faces in it that I didn't want to blast on the live stream. As I zoomed in up there, but I didn't want to like blast the zoom in on them. Oh, hey, here's another thought. Just couldn't help but notice. So this is where Charlie was, is where these plants are. And when you turn to go back behind, back here, there's a security camera right there on the ceiling. The ceiling that they have by now replaced in its entirety for some reason. Well, not in its entirety. We saw a video of them replacing sections of this ceiling.
Camera's right there.
But you remember the dude that was, the glasses guy that everyone's super suspicious of, that was like on the security team, that looked like he grabbed something he took the SD cards out of the cameras, and then he like also ran back here and was like on the phone up on this gravel hilltop.
This is where they evacuated him to.
This gravel slope, when you're actually there in person, it would be a lot harder to get up onto than it looks like on video. That wall, I'm a tall dude, but that wall is really tall compared to the average height person. Like the height that dude seems like he is, this thing is coming up like halfway up his body. He would have to like vault up onto it. And then the slope is really steep, actually, of rounded, large rocks that would slide down under your feet. Like walking up this little slope would be like a scree field. And so it's like a really weird place for bro to go stand in the middle of this commotion. Like it took him effort to get up there. And honestly, it would be a lot easier to get up over here and then to walk up the lesser slope than to just get up here and go straight up. But like, I have no idea why he was there, what he was doing up there. I don't know. It just struck me as like, when you're there in person, it becomes pretty obvious that that is not a convenient place to be at all. And I don't see any reason to be there at all. So I don't know what to make of that. The memorials are really pretty. They're really touching. I think I'm going to say a brief thing about the memorials, and then we'll jump into question and answer. All I really want is for some rooftop expert to tell me what this thing is. And I'm sure it's nothing. I'm sure that we're just chilling. I don't know why it appeared and disappeared in the footage on the day of the shooting. It is obviously visible today from the entire walkway, way beyond where that video was taken from. So I have some questions. But let's just pause this on this photo of Charlie and Jesus. And let me pull up the chat now. I'm going to pull the chat over into this window here so I can see you guys. And now we're going to hang out a little bit. If you guys have any questions, I can answer any questions directly. I can show you anything in the footage. It looks like a duck with antennas. It's clearly a thingamajig. There we are. Now we're on it. Who said that? Maddie knows what's up. It is clearly a thingamajig. A rooftop expert. You guys don't know what a rooftop expert is? Come on, dude. A rooftop expert. I had a rooftop expert in my DMs today. Ashley Hayes, thanks for the super. Thank you for doing this. Very helpful. I appreciate you. I mean, honestly, I didn't do it to be helpful exactly. I did it because it felt right in my own mind, just so that I could see it. Like the footage I'm going to use it to make a video, and it obviously is useful for us to like see it. It is useful. And I'm happy to share as much of it as I can and anything I can. But I kind of just came because it felt like I should see it, because this thing has impacted me tremendously, and I'm sure that it will continue to do so. I have a feeling that this story will continue to impact us for years and years and years. But also, like, it is a moment in time that is going to go away. The opportunity to see the place, to see what happened, to see the memorials, to just ask any questions visually of the space that you might have, that's not going to be available for very much longer. Already they have torn out the grass, torn out the concrete, replaced all of the scene, replaced everything on the ground, replaced part of the ceiling. They're pulling out the planters. That's not suspicious at all. So I just felt like I had to get over here and see it right now and get the vibes for myself. And I wasn't sure if I was going to be trying to like interview people and get sources and get the scoop, and I'm doing a teeny bit of that in the background. I'm not going to share any of that in this footage. But ultimately, like, I also just wanted to feel what the people were feeling, feel what the vibe is. And it's very somber and it's very compelling. And the memorials are very, they're heartwarming and they feel meaningful, as meaningful as a memorial can be when someone gets brutally murdered on college campus in front of everybody. But, you know, let me catch up with some supers that came in here. Where'd they go? Colton Larkin, thanks for the super. Grainy ass photo of the rifle, no black towel. He left a screwdriver on the roof, but assembled the gun in the wooded area without said screwdriver. Exactly, right? The fact that there's a screwdriver on the roof tells us that the official narrative is that there was some assembling and disassembling of the gun on the roof. That doesn't make exactly any sense. But then when he jumps off the roof in the footage, we don't see a gun in that footage. Not to mention there was no time to disassemble it. We know that he was running 3 seconds after the shot. The rifle is the crux here. And Candace's reporting, I think, is starting to hone in on the picture, because the rifle on the roof, we don't have any evidence of the rifle on the roof. We have evidence that they're afraid to show us the footage of him taking the shot that we know they should have, but they ain't showed us that. So, MM, thanks for the super. I appreciate you. J Lo, do you know if there was an actual autopsy report and what conclusions did you come to? I know as much as you guys about the autopsy report, which is that it simultaneously never happened according to the police scanner radio. It also did happen, but it was the surgeon that did it, and Charlie has bones of titanium that deflect bullets, according to Andrew, whatever his name is, Colvett. And then also there was an autopsy done by the coroner that's expected to show it ricocheted down into his heart and stopped his heart. And I think there was one other report also that there was no autopsy. And so it's all just retarded. It's all fake. At this point, not going to probably trust an autopsy even when it comes out, because that's doctored as hell. I don't know what to make of it. It is fact that in Utah, it is the law that you have to do an autopsy on any person that has been killed for any sort of suspicious circumstance, murder, stuff like that. They were required to do an autopsy by law. And the fact that there's any debate about whether there was an autopsy, the fact that they're not waving the autopsy around on mainstream media to show us that their story is true is very suspicious. And I think we all kind of know what it means. Anyone that thinks that this story is what they're telling us it is, still at this point, is, yeah, that's dumb. It's dumb. Sorry, I got way behind on the supers here. I'm trying to catch back up to where they were. Wow, J-Lo, that's a really big super. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. KH, thanks for the big super. You guys are amazing. You're the best. Thank you for your relentless effort for truth. Try my best. I don't know about any truth here, but certainly on the ground perspective. That's the thing, is that sometimes there's no truth to be found, but there is context. There's context of what it looks like, what it feels like, what people are talking about. I talked to a couple of students today. I talked to some people that work at the building. I've talked to a couple of police officers, just kind of getting people on the ground's vibes for what it is. Made a video on Tom Farrell show. Thank you for the super. I made a video on TikTok with 600K views that got removed, covering how his mic is a bit sus, especially after the pagers. It's clearly a small cap. I am not sold on the mic exploding theory at all. The video that brought that to the forefront looks edited, and I think Zeb Boykin is right that I think it might be edited. It's possible. Chris Martinson was analyzing it, and the frame, the initial expansion frame where it looks like there's the explosion at his neck, maybe that's the temporary cavitation being shown, and it just looks really weird, but it might be edited. Like, remember that we are weeks after the fact, and the bad guys know that we're all trying to find the truth in these videos and audio files, and I think a lot of videos are getting circulated now that have been edited and that are not authentic and original, and without a direct chain of custody of the metadata of the phone it was recorded on directly into your analysis, into the video you're watching, you got to be really careful what video you're trusting now, which is why to me it was so important to get on the scene and see it for myself and get my own video footage, at least of the layout, even if not of the day of. So, but beyond that, you can see that the lapel mic is still on his shirt after the shot was fired. B, the lapel mic is over here. The exit wound appears right here on the other side of his neck. So if your theory is that something went through his neck from here to here, there's no place in that theory for his spine to be severed, and we know for a fact that his spine was severed. So whatever trajectory you want to infer happened, it has to pass through his spine. We can tell from the posturing, it's that inward turning of the hands, the stiffness, that is a posturing that means severe traumatic brain injury to the brainstem or the spine. In this case, probably a severing of the spine. It's hard to say, but not just a passing through the front of the neck. That's not possible in that scenario. So I am not of the mindset that the lapel mic exploded at all. And when you analyze it frame by frame slowly, like, you can see the trauma happen up here before the mic is even moved. To me, it aligns a lot more with just how a lapel mic moves on anyone that has worn lapel mics. I've actually got one right here. Anyone that's worn a lapel mic knows that they flop back and forth a lot like this because of the way they're weighted and stuff. So they hide behind seams. They flop with seams, especially if it was clipped to his earpiece cord or whatever kind of cord, the way that Zeb was thinking. There's still a lot of debate about the earpiece. We don't know. But Tom Farrell, A, thanks for the super. I appreciate it. B, thanks for seeking the truth. And D, all theories are on the table. Personally, I think I've taken that one off of my table, but everyone has to come to their own conclusions and think for themselves. Don't trust me. Trust your eyes. Oh, dude, the squib theory. Holy shit. We'll talk about the squib theory in a second here. I saw a different comment about the squib theory. What is my opinion about what really happened? What do you think? Constitutionalist News, thanks for the big super there. What is my opinion? What do I think really happened? Dude, I think he got shot, and I don't think it was by the rifle that they've shown us, and I don't think it had anything to do with Tyler Robinson based on the current body of evidence. I think it is more likely that Tyler was going to a CIA school in a CIA program and was getting involved in the intelligence community, is extremely smart, extremely good grades, from a family that generally leans in the direction, like in this whole school. I did a whole report on the CAI program at the school he goes to or went to before he dropped out after one semester. So he's in a position like Lee Harvey Oswald to be, parallel to intelligence operations, maybe in some form, but like totally unimportant. Maybe for whatever reason he gets picked to be a patsy. Maybe he's in on the patsiness. Probably not, based on what we're hearing now. He's got this great gun that's going to link him to the scene that somehow or other gets planted. I assume that Tyler had to be somehow in on the gun getting put there, being told something that was not true about what was going on. I guess. But I'm starting to wonder seriously if Tyler is even our shooter, or like was there at all. As in, was Tyler even the person that was on the roof? Here, I'm going to pull up a screen of the scene, so to speak. If I can get control over my computer again here. Where's a screen where I'm looking back up at everything? Boom, right there. So, did the shot come from the roof of the Losi Center? Maybe. The angles aren't exactly right. The ballistics don't really make sense. It makes a lot more sense if it's an exit wound that we see than an entry wound. The problem with the exit wound is that there's nowhere for the shot to come from, and we don't know what the heck that means. And so it's like, right now, I think that we have no fucking clue. And the fact that we have no fucking clue means it's an intelligence agency operation, because that's the point. Is that they try to make a believable story, and when the believable story isn't quite believable enough, if they just cover everything else up and flood the zone and fuck your head up and hopefully get away clean enough that you never find the real answer. So I don't know the real answer, Constitutionalist News, but I'm leaning towards exit wound is what we saw, and I have no idea where the shot would have come from if that's true. But I'm suspecting intelligence agency. Strongly suspecting intelligence agency. As you all know, as I said on day one, that this looks like an intelligence agency hit job. So, yeah, I don't think the gun was ever on the roof. Whoever's comment I just saw that said that. As the world crumbles, anything from the left side for possible shot? Good question. Not really. I don't know if this frame goes over to the left at all. Nah. Yeah. Boom. So this whole roof, I feel like it's off the table. Oh, my screen is frozen. Is it back? Yeah, it looks like it's back. Maybe it's just this layout that's frozen? No, it's still good. Okay. So this roof, I think, is kind of ruled out because it's all visible from the walkway that kids were on. I mean, maybe there could be a line of sight from up here. I'll look into it tomorrow. I doubt it. This whole black roof is all one big building. and there's no crawl spaces, there's no secret spots, there's no nothing. I've been looking at the water feature. I've been looking at the surfaces. I've been looking at holes in the wall, being like, is there anything behind that hole in the wall? Is there a place where a sniper could like crawl through like the Marianas Trench and emerge in like a chamber and go through the gas vent and then wind up behind this hole in the wall? Like, that's the level of tinfoil I'm at right now. And I've not found any holes in any walls. I've not found any perches. And it's not like I'm some expert. It's not like I was going to find some hole in a wall, but I've been looking, if that makes you feel any better. I'm not giving this area a pass by any means. I have access to some really good upscale / slow-mo tools. If you wanted to try pulling some details out of these OG clips, I'm down. Scarecrow Jenkins, that is a great idea. If you search on YouTube, Life is Driving, Charlie Kirk assassination, the footage is from this account called Life is Driving on YouTube that, here, let me just pull it up. Life is Driving. Adam Bartholomew is his name. And this is the video. And it's called, I guess my screen share is it's because I'm in the wrong. That's why. So it's this raw footage of Charlie Kirk TPUSA shooting at Utah Valley. It's an hour and 9 minutes long, and it's on this YouTube channel called Life is Driving. And you can just go and download it yourself and analyze it. And I highly recommend doing that, because right now this is one of the best video files that we've got collectively of this shooting. So that is what it is. Let me get back into the supers here. Yeah, I've been looking at Erica Kirk, guys. I'm definitely not about to throw public accusations at Erica Kirk without solid evidence. Certainly looking at all theories, but Chris Grelos, thank you for the super. Are there windows off to the right and behind of where he was? I saw a video on IG with muzzle flash from supposedly that area. I think you're referring to, let's get down below. Like, are you referring to these windows here, I think is what you're saying? These windows don't open, but I was super curious about these vents above the windows. I've been curious about these vents since before I came here. And I purposely came here to look at these vents, and they are not openable. And I see clear evidence that they have not been opened. Like, they're all cobwebby and dirty, and I can see that they have not been removed almost certainly and put back on. Likewise, I was also looking at like these little things on the wall. Like, I was fucking looking at everything, guys. Seriously, like, if you want to send a conspiracy theorist that will literally check all possible angles, like, I am your guy, and I'm peeping it. Like, I'm even peeping these little like divots in the wall that are just little scrapies. They're, I'm looking, and nothing going on there. That being said, I did get this neat footage down this, there's the cop walking by. He was sketchy. Where do we clear up? Okay. Here's an angle. Because where Charlie Kirk was at the time is like cordoned off. You can't actually stand there anymore. It's kind of hard to get angles that actually show you this line of sight at him. And so Charlie Kirk was right there where this kind of like right at the end of this hallway, right in front of the end of this flag right here. And so when this clears up, we're kind of in a straight line, more or less, to the guy. Like, right? So this is sort of all of your options, except for maybe there's maybe a little more space, to the right of this wall where Charlie was out a little bit. So maybe a little further over on this corner might have been able to see him. But this is kind of what you get. Balcony, rooftop, crack, top corner, or something secret in the walls or something. But like this balcony, super exposed. That balcony is not a good place to be when there's crowds everywhere. That whole balcony, super visible. I mean, even in this footage right now, you can see the rungs on the backs of the chair. You can see the flowers on the bush. It's not a good hiding spot. And all of this space was all filled with people. So, like, I don't know what to say about it. The muzzle flash it reflected in the window surfaces. I was just seeing you were talking about the muzzle flash. That's the clip I killed. Oh, these are the cool cairns that everybody built. So the muzzle flash was like reflected in this window right here. If it was muzzle flash, we don't know. I have no idea what that flash anomaly is. Are we still live? Yeah, we're still live. But yeah, if any of you guys don't know about the flash in this window, Zeb Boykin has been looking at it. I think that Range Day Bro looked at the flash a little bit too. I don't know what to make of it. It appears for one frame, and it appears right in the same frame as the shot, basically. But what it would be reflecting is a mystery, because there's nothing, like there's nowhere to hide. This whole stairwell was open to the public. This whole balcony was filled with people. None of these open. The windows don't open. All of this was filled with people. So let me get back up to where I was in the supers. Oh, I'm at the top of the supers now suddenly? Okay, let's pull back in here to there. You can see something white moving 1912 through 1920 in the Life is Driving video. Where would we see that? 1912. Oh, you mean a flying thing? Oh, you guys don't see the screen right now. I should probably share it so you're in on this. That being said, I'm not sure I'm picking up what you're putting down there, bro. If it's the tiny white flying, like a tiny like UAV drone, I'm going to leave that to John Cullen and Jason Goodman. They're way better at that than me. And that's not a dig. I'm serious. They're way better at that than me. Yeah, if you, I'm not, you're going to have to be way more specific with that super chat. I don't know what you're talking about. But there are all kinds of weird flying anomalies going on in here. Shit, I don't know. Thanks for the big super. I'll read your super. I'm not going to start speculating on Charlie's wife, though. Charlie's wife wore all that black eye makeup during the funeral with effing pyro. If a woman wears black eye makeup, it will run when you cry. No chance in hell her tears were real. Waterproof makeup is a scam. Word? Yeah, I don't know what to make of it. Phil Lyman. I don't know what to make of Phil Lyman. I mean, Candace kind of spilled some beans on Phil Lyman today. I think we all learned some things about Phil Lyman. I don't think Candace was trying to say that Phil is necessarily like a nefarious actor or anything. Who knows what Phil's up to? But Phil is definitely in the story. I've talked to Phil. I haven't met him yet. Has anyone heard that Trump introduced Erica and Charlie Kirk? Yes, have heard. Cool. Well, when it lost my feed and a lot of the supers I think got lost in that. I'm sorry if I missed your super. But that's pretty much where we're at. That's pretty much the run of the show. Let me put this away. Well, actually, maybe we might need it again for one last bit of this chat here. But I'm gonna crack one more beverage real quick. And then I'm going to read a few more of your chats before we log out for the night. Gigi's hungry. I have to go get her dinner still. Because rush hour traffic was super effed earlier. What is squib? Oh, squib theory. We got to talk about squib theory, guys. Oh my gosh. Oh goodness. Squib theory. What is a squib? You guys don't know what a squib is? Squib blood effect. I don't even know if I want to show squib videos. Because squibs are what Hollywood uses to make fake gunshots and injuries and stuff like that. And so you can look up squibs online, SQUIB. Squibs are usually little explosive charges that get placed on the skin with a backing, and they get hidden underneath clothing or underneath like fake skin, and then you can blow them up, and they have like a protective backing layer that protects the actor, but they go pop, and they make it look, and they can shoot blood out of them from a little blood packet and make it look like you've been shot. So the squib theory is all the people wondering if Charlie even got shot, and maybe it's all fake, it's all an illusion. And like, I do not subscribe to that theory. Let's be clear. But I have talked to some very smart people that have their heads on their shoulders, even a few in industries that, you know, are relative to Charlie and the situation. And they've made some convincing arguments that it's something that you might at least keep an eye on. Because like, yeah, that's a great theory and all, but like, we saw it come out of his neck. We saw blood pour out of his neck. We saw him die and go catatonic, and he bled everywhere, and like, it was around all of his friends. It's like, I do not think that Charlie fake died, because I mean, just if you walk your mind through that, then he is just committed to never seeing his kids again. Like, going into that kind of like wit pro, like, he's just said, yeah, bye wife and child. I'm going to do this for my country or whatever. Like, I doubt it a lot. But if you want to go down a crazy fucking rabbit hole, you can look up how this looks really gnarly when he does it, because it's a fake neck. Okay, this is a fake neck, just so you know. Not his real neck, because they just take scissors in there and just start cutting it open. But it's a very convincing fake neck. Oh, you guys can't see it. Haha, gotcha. So this is a fake neck that they're cutting an opening into, so that way they can have a fake throat slashing in the film and blood will squirt out of the throat slashing realistically. So this is not a gunshot, but you can look up gunshot squibs too. But it is particularly relevant because that's a fake neck that they have just cut a line into so that they can conceal a blood like dispersion system behind it. And then they put their tubes in and stuff like that. And they can actually like smush it back closed. And that's a fake neck. So like, these theories always feel so crazy. And before I ever looked into them, I thought they were crazy too. But then you learn about the intelligence agency's history with disguise. You learn about Jonna Mendez, who walked into the White House, into the Oval Office, and briefed President H.W. Bush way back in the 90s, wearing a full skin mask disguise, like Mission Impossible style, and the Secret Service didn't even know. Like, CIA disguise technology is out of control. It's shit that we can't even imagine. And Hollywood has played a big role in intelligence agencies pushing the limits on disguises and optics and make-believe, and who really knows what they can do nowadays. So if you want to go completely insane and lose all connection to reality, which I don't recommend, you could look into squib theory because anything is possible. I mean, who knows? Personally, I'm not really into it because it just doesn't really lead anywhere. You're never going to solve it. That's never going to get exposed. It's never going to have proof. It's never going to come out, I don't think. So I'm trying to stay with stuff that we can figure out. But I don't know. In Life is Driving video, he already started turning around. It's like there is some interesting analysis to be done on the crowd reactions. I still haven't seen enough deep diving into crowd reactions, but there's a lot of data in the crowd. And I thought that Chris Martinson pointed out really well that there's a couple people in the crowd that are pointing like right during the shot, kind of. So... Oh, good correction here, Flojo Tube, about my speaking about Zeb Boykin's theory. You're right. Zeb Boykin is not of the mindset that it's a muzzle flash. He is now actually kind of audaciously saying that, well, not audacious, it's just because he's an expert, he understands these things. He's saying that he thinks it's a bullet breaking the sound barrier, most likely, and you're seeing a reflection of like the visual artifact caused by it's kind of like a mini sonic boom, I think. I hope I'm not butchering that completely, but Zeb is really cool. I really like Zeb's analysis, and I've been following along with every video he's put out. He's doing a really great job of analyzing, is it a necklace? Is it an earpiece? It's the ballistics. I really appreciate him sticking to his guns, analyzing the original footage, knowing the footage, like just analyzing the actual data and not budging because this or that new theory comes along or whatever. I dig it. Zeb is a great dude to follow right now. Sue Butler, thank you for the super. Shot came from under the table. His shirt reacted to upwards shot. Smaller bullet traveled upward and lodged in blank. I don't think so, but I mean, at this point, I don't have a better explanation. So Jason Thor, thanks for the super. Andrew Colvett, Eastern European, specifically Jewish Ashkenazic roots derived from the Yiddish word kolvet, meaning to cover or to protect. Hey, you said it, not me, bro. I mean, let's be clear. Andrew Colvett was like one of Charlie's best friends in the world. And I am certainly not about to level an accusation at that man because of the gravity of such an accusation. You better have some damn good evidence that Andrew Colvett is behind something before you're accusing him of something like that, because that would be, were that true, deeply evil. To betray your best friend in a way like that's not something that I'm willing to even begin to accuse publicly. And I do not suspect that, to be clear. I do not suspect that Andrew Colvett knew anything in advance or was at all involved in Charlie Kirk's death. I have a lot of questions about what he said about the autopsy report, but that could be chalked up to like him being traumatized and not knowing all autopsies and just repeating what he was told. Like a lot of times in these situations, people are played as fools, so to speak. They're used in order to push parts of stories because they just are a pass-through for information, something that I have been before, and I think a lot of people have, whether they know it or not. And in this kind of a situation, that's like one of the most dangerous things, is that they feed information out into the media space, and then we all pick it up and run with it, whether it is real or not. It's a very powerful tactic in the modern day and age for them to use. Bix, thanks for the huge super, $50 super. That's amazing. Follow the money. Charlie took out a $350K loan from TPUSA on Form 990 Schedule L from their 2024 tax return. That makes TPUSA part owner of the policy. Also, a 501c3, they are not allowed to engage in politics, so money funneled to other entities. Interesting. I don't know about that. How do I save a super? How do I save a super? Yeah, 36 of you liked that super. You're dang straight. I'm going to take a photo of that super and look into that later, Bix. That is a good super. Appreciate the huge super and the great tip. That's dope. Cool. Am I feel for my life, Heather? No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm definitely not inviting everyone over to wherever I'm staying right now. I'm definitely, being mindful and taking precautions. I'm definitely have a concealed carry and stuff like that. But I'm not like worried for my life. That's just basic safety in in this line of work. But if I were to come across like the thing that clearly exposed some evil cabal as being behind this, and I was like the only person that had that information, I'd be fucking super concerned for my life. And I would immediately turn on a live stream and tell as many people as possible so that I'm not the only one holding that information. But I don't have any information like that right now. Or do I, Phil Lyman? No, I'm just playing. No, I'm not worried about my life, and I kind of purposefully like avoid trying to get the inside scoop too much usually so that I don't get in that position. Sometimes you kind of get thrown into the thick of things anyways. Gigi can come play at my house with my dogs while you are in Utah. Yeah, she doesn't really like other dogs that much usually. Gigi has a lot of trauma. She was a rescue that was found abandoned in a field, and I'm almost certain that she was attacked by coyotes when she was out alone, and she's like very touchy with dogs. Not because she doesn't like dogs, but just because she knows that not all dogs are good guys, and she is willing to fucking tell you to back up if she's not with your vibes. So she likes some dogs, just not all. Just like people. What about Charlie's memo? Any legitimacy behind that? Screenshot it. His memo. I don't know what you mean by memo. Do you mean his letter to BB? Do you mean his memo about auditing Turning Point's finances? Because that is super relevant. Candace is definitely onto something there. Backpack in morning looks blue and tunnel blackish. I don't know how to read your name, but thanks for the super. Cool. I'm trying not to drop any supers while I'm scrolling this chat here, hanging out. Thank you for the little super there. Hi, DB. I appreciate you. Cool. The Romanian angles. Be careful digging into the Romania stuff with Erica Kirk. I have done the dig a little bit, and there might be stuff there, but it's really tenuous. And it's dangerous to make bold accusations. Like, imagine a scenario where Erica Kirk is a total godly woman that loved Charlie to death and did not do anything wrong ever, and obviously was not in on this, and has just had her heart broken, is doing her best to rebuild TPUSA. That is a very potentially possible scenario where she's like totally a good guy and totally based, and actually maybe she's going to help save America later. But in that scenario, if you start accusing that woman of trafficking children based on like some weird connections that you found and some weird reporting from the past, you're a fucking shitty person. Okay? If you start accusing an innocent woman that has just lost her husband and tried to go through all this grieving, and you start accusing her of human trafficking because you made some connections in the research, and you're wrong, that's pretty shitty, bro. And it just is. And it's one thing when you're like an anon that's doing your own thing out there that has your own theories, but you're not like reaching people, you're not voicing to people. It's a whole different thing when a million people see what you say, okay? And it's really important to try to have very solid evidence before you make accusations like that. And so I did look into the stuff about Erica Kirk's history and about her time with pageantry and her time with the mission in Romania. And I did find the reporting that people are kind of latching onto, that there is a scandal about the American military base that was in Romania, about trafficking and a brothel kind of thing with the American military base around the same time frame. And she does have some sort of connection to a general that was associated with that base because her charity organization was using the U.S. military to get supplies and like school supplies and gifts into the children, Christmas gifts, I think. So there's a potential, right? Maybe in a dark world, in a dark conspiratorial world, could be true. But there's a lot of room for that just being the military is involved in shitty shit and it's vast and complex, and there is a scandal on this military base. But then this other unrelated charity is trying to send Christmas gifts to kids in Romania. And just because she once acknowledged the general that was also sometimes mentioned in the reporting about, like, be very careful about drawing too many connections without direct proof, okay? Like, That's how you wind up just like inventing your own reality. Because if you were to like, you could make a theory about all the people that I've been in a photo with, all the people who I've shaken hands with. You can make a theory about like everyone that Candace has ever talked to, right? Just because you've met someone or mentioned someone or shooken someone's hand does not mean that you're in a business venture with them. Doesn't mean you're organized crime with them. Doesn't mean you even know anything about them. Okay. So just be careful about connecting dots that are loose, but lead to really bold accusations. Personally, I have not seen any conclusive evidence that Erica is bad. She has the pedigree of a potentially sketchy person, but she also has the pedigree of a potentially perfect wife for Charlie. Make of that what you will, whether you think that's staged or not. But you know, I'm not of the mind to blame her or, you know, think negatively of her until I see some real evidence. I spent thanks for another good, wow, Bix, you're crushing it. I spent days diving down the rabbit hole. Happy to send you over everything I have. I've analyzed 3 of their 501c3s so far. The web of corruption is pretty wild. Example, 30% commissions on fundraising when standard is 2 to 5%. Interesting. Bix, you sound like the kind of person that should just be making videos, bro. That's the thing, is that everyone should just be making videos. It's people think of making videos as like the thing you do to get followers to like become a social media influencer. That's all bullshit. That's like 2012, 2008. Like we are way past that. We're in the era now where we are all social media influencers. We're all just people online that make stuff, that have stuff, have ideas, make stuff like, and most information is better shared in video breakdown. Most information holds more weight if it's you showing what you found. And even if you only get it seen by 1,000 people, those 1,000 people are people that want to see it. And if you made a video about that kind of a thing, then I could see it and I could understand like, oh, look, Bix did great work on this stuff. So Bix, you should consider making some videos, bro. Not even to like, you know, be famous or like be an influencer or anything. That's all bullshit. Just because like it's better. It's a useful way to contribute to everything. And you are clearly contributing. Uncle Ted, Ian 1000% is a Fed. I mean, you're welcome to think that. Prove it. Because that's the thing, is that I've learned a lot from my own mistakes in the game so far. I've only been doing this for like 2.5 years. Spooky. But like one thing I've learned very clearly is from looking at what other people say about me, I know my whole life story. I know everything bad I've ever done. I know everything good I've ever done. I know everything suspicious I've ever done. I know everyone I've ever worked with. I know all the money I've ever taken in. And I know that my closet doesn't really have any skeletons in it. And I know that there's not really anything that like, I'm not worried. Like there's nothing there. And so I see other people making up crazy conspiracy theories about me. And like, I get it. It's funny. And like, I would be suspicious if I saw me come on the scene too. And I would watch closely and I would think carefully about what a guy like me says. And I would judge accordingly. But being in my own shoes, I get to see like the reality of what my life really is versus what other people think. And it reminds me that like, oh yeah, fuck, dude. It's so easy to be wrong about someone else's complex life that if you're going to stake your reputation on accusing someone else of what their life is about, you better have some fucking proof. Because if someone wanted to make some crazy accusation about like where I was in 2012, go ahead and make it. I've got photos. If you want to tell me what I was doing in 2007, I've got journals and journals and journals. I've probably got a journal page from every single day of 2007 with my name signed, with the date, with my own handwriting. I've got boxes and boxes of artwork. I've got a whole archive of my whole life. I know my life. And so when you start making accusations about other people's lives, you just have to be really careful. And especially when it's like a grieving widow. It's not like I'm not going to come out publicly and like make shitty accusations. So you're welcome to have your own theories. You're welcome to think that I'm a Fed. I don't care. Because I know what I'm about. And I'm the only one that I know. Like, I don't feel 100% confident about anyone else in this industry. I feel 99.9% confident about a couple of the homies for sure. I've been sussing out the scene and finding out who do I really trust. Like, have I met their families? Have I met their kids? Do I know where they live? Do I know their backstory? Do I know their employers? Do I know like people that have known them for a very long time? Have I met their childhood friends? Things like that. Are their opinions solid? Do they change their mind when they're wrong? Those sorts of things start to give me more and more comfortable that this person I feel like I can trust. But ultimately, I'm the only one that I know for sure what I am. And everyone else is like, y'all have your own stories too. So how about the connection with the Nicolas Cage movie and the assassination of Charlie Kirkland? Seems like there's a pattern. So I haven't gotten to see the movie yet. I'm sure I'll watch it sooner or later. I don't know what to make of it, dude. Like, maybe the whole world is a stage. I mean, I've heard some pretty great like Q level theories about what's going on here, and I can't disprove it. I mean, that's what I love about how fucked up the world is in this horrible way, is that like, yeah, maybe it's all feds. Maybe it's all white hats. Maybe it's like white Christian nationalists like giving this like great Christian uprising to like defeat Israel. And like, I don't know, like could be. Prove it wrong. I dare you to prove it wrong. But ultimately, it's like I'm not going to operate my life based upon all those theories. I'll just pay attention to them and have a good time. Just watch and learn, right? I think that my main criticism, I think this is what I'm going to end the show on today. The last thing of the night. My main criticism about most people online, both the normies, the NPCs, the bots, the fucking based smart people, the homies, the guys that get it, the girls that are thinking, as well as like the actual researchers, the like influencers and the fucking journalists and the people that have platforms. My biggest critique for everyone is that most people think they know way too fucking much. My biggest critique is that like everyone gets so fucking sure of themselves and thinks that they're so smart, and you're not that smart. A lot of you are smarter than me, but that's not a super high bar. And ultimately, like, how much do you really know about the world? Like, most of history is a lie. And most of history is built on history being a lie. And like most of science has been bought out by money. Like so much of what we think we know about the world is actually bought and paid for narrative building from corporations over the last 100 years, or like intelligence agency psyops for the last 100 years, or like just assholes lying. That it's like, how do you really know what's going on? Are you sure? Are you sure? Like, just your first principles theories, like, do aliens exist? Have humans had contact with them? Is the moon real? Have we been to the moon? Based upon your perspective of those questions right there, everything in reality is different. And if you're right and it's this, then all of that changes. And if you're wrong and it's that, then all of that changes. And maybe you're super confident that you know the answers to, are there aliens? Is the moon real? Have we been to the moon? Like, those basic big space questions. Or is the earth flat, right? I'm sure you are so sure that you know for sure. For sure. But like, do you really? Are you really that informed? Are you really that smart? Are you sure that you're smarter than everyone else that thinks the other thing than you? Like, that feels pretty egotistical and conceited in my mind. And I would urge everyone to be a little more humble and realize that maybe there's things you don't know out there. And I don't know, maybe that's Fed posting. I would argue it's just logical. It's just being thoughtful. And when you have the humility to realize that you might not know everything, that opens your mind to considering a lot more and deciding a lot less. So I try to ask all the questions, look at all the evidence. I have no problem listening to the theory that maybe Charlie's not even dead yet, and maybe they used a fake squib that made it look like he died, and it was all staged, and that's why the security guards looked weird, and that's why everything is sketchy and fake. Like, bring the theory on. Let's talk about the evidence. I think it's fascinating. It doesn't mean that I'm going to necessarily think it's likely, or even maybe necessarily possible. Although, for clarification, I think it is possible, but extremely unlikely. But that being said, really interesting conversation to have. You get to learn a whole lot about the world, about squibs, about disguises. You get to think about these complex logistics. it just gets you thinking in new ways, and it's a lot of fun, and it gets you connecting with other people. When you think you know everything, you make a lot less friends. When you think other people might know things that you don't, it's a lot easier to make friends and to learn things you didn't know before and ask questions and stuff. So I don't know. I just think that people are way overconfident and way too mean to each other. Just a bunch of dicks. So just be nice to people, you know? I think that's it for the night. Is there any last supers that I missed? Skasmuski, thanks for the super. Great work. I found a channel I love, Signal Over Silence. That's a cool name. She used ChatGPT and goes down so many rabbit holes, and it's extremely interesting. Word. Though, do be careful about people that are overusing AI without double checking that as a source. AI is only as good as the sources that it can cite, in my opinion. If AI is telling you something as though it's true and they don't have a source, in my opinion, that's a bunch of baloney. And I'm skeptical of people that would trust that and put that out on the internet without at least double checking most of it, especially the big claims. So that's it for the night. It's getting late. I got to get myself dinner. I got to get Gigi dinner. I really appreciate you hanging out. Hopefully that helped. If there's anything else in the footage that I have that you want to see more of, or if anyone has any special requests, hit me up. Specifically, if any of the researchers out there found any of this interesting or want more details, I'm going to be here for another couple days. And I could probably go and get some more footage for you or investigate some more angles and leads. Probably going to go to Dairy Queen tomorrow. I think we're having some confusion about Dairy Queens out there. But yeah, that's it. I know it's late, but be sure to drink some water, tell someone you love them, do something nice for someone tomorrow, and maybe try to get outside in some sunshine and touch some grass. And, yeah, maybe, in honor of Charlie Kirk, whatever faith you profess, whatever God you believe in, whatever higher power you think is up there creating this world that is flat or round or whoever knows what it is, maybe just spend some time with them, with her, him, God. Spend some time talking to God tonight, because I think regardless of who you are, where you are, what you believe, I think we all kind of feel that the problem sort of stems from us being a little out of touch with God these days. And maybe you should get back in touch with whatever you call that thing that is in your heart, telling you what's right and wrong, what's good and bad. And we should all be listening to that a little more, right? So thanks for being here. Thanks for tuning in.